Push the license plate. Knight 2000 voice car says 6 different things. Sequence may vary, batteries not included. And it comes with a Michael Knight action figure.
Scanner indicates danger ahead.
The Knight 2000 voice car comes with a Michael Knight action figure. From Kenner.
Hello and welcome to another vintage toy review. And this past week, Knight Rider just celebrated its 42nd anniversary since it debuted on TV. And there was also a Knight Rider at this past Hamilton Comic Con, thanks to KITTforhire.com. Saw it a few weeks ago at the Fan Expo Canada in Toronto, and a couple of years before that at one of the Oblivion car shows in Southern Ontario. And it's awesome seeing it in person, and especially getting able to sit inside it and see it all the technology inside. So if you can't track down one of these, you can always go over to KITTforhire.com and get in contact with Aggie and get a kit for an event that you're doing. The Kenner Knight Rider 1983. This is one that I wanted so bad when I was a kid. I vividly remember really wanting this one, staring at the catalogs back in the day, the old Consumers Distributing catalogs. I was a big fan of the show, and the show started in 1982. 1 year later, Kenner put this out, and I do not know for the life of me why they decided to go with this scale. Inside kit right here is a Michael Knight figure that was included. And this is almost a 6-inch figure right here. I don't understand why they went so big with this. That's the main reason I never got a Knight Rider back then, is because of the cost of it. It was expensive, very expensive, especially compared to a lot of the other more affordable toys like G.I. Joe and GoBots, which just recently took a look at. I don't know why they didn't go with G.I. Joe scale of 4-inch or 3 3/4 inch kit and figure for this. I think a lot more kids would have been able to afford it if it was a smaller scale. Kenner did learn their lesson, I guess, a few years later when they came out with Mask, which was a smaller scale. But the 1983 Kenner Knight Rider, for some reason, was a lot bigger. Really awesome for an adult. It's nice how huge it is in adult hands. But back then, just way too big, way too expensive. And like a one-shot. There wasn't a big line of Kenner Knight Rider toys. This was the only figure of the line. This was the only vehicle of the line. They never did like a car, evil version of KITT with the yellow scanner. There's no Devon figure, no truck. That was it, just the one. Both doors function on it, and I'm lucky that these still clip into place, as the tabs can break off of these, causing these to not want to clip in properly, and the stickers on it. Actually, this is a paint application, looks like a decal, are in amazing shape. Nice, beautiful chrome on the hubcaps as well. It's the main reason I didn't have this for a very long time when I was buying up all of my other vintage toys, is that I don't really care if my toys aren't in mint condition, but when it comes to KITT, it's kind of his gimmick that he's impervious to dents and scratches. There's even a scene in the pilot episode where Devon hits it with a hammer and does not dent it. So it didn't have to be mint condition, but I took a very, very long time to track down a kit that I thought looked good enough, shiny enough, but also didn't cost way too much. You can get them in mint condition, sure, minted box and stuff, but I wanted one that I can still futz around with. The scanner on the front is not electronic. That's a big surprise to me that they didn't make the scanner light up. There'd be subsequent KITT toys and model cars throughout the years that would have either it just lights up, or the really good ones actually have a scanner. The Diamond Select one has a beautiful scanner that goes back and forth. But this one, it just looks like that reflective tape. That's kind of reminds me of the the tape that's on the eyes of the Sectar's hand puppet that comes with the hive. So it's, as far as a non-electronic scanner goes, it's a really nice effect. I mean, look at that. You can imitate the effect of a scanner just by moving it back and forth. Now I do have a ton of light coming down on this from like 4 different spots, so I don't know if you're going to get that effect from just a light bulb in your ceiling. But as far as the effect to mimic the scanner goes, it's really nice. Wheels are connected in the front, connected in the back. It's not that much detail on the undercarriage of it. But there's some, which is nice. And the legalese underneath here. Let's see, it actually says Knight Rider 2000, which is the name of the toy. Knight Rider 2000 is a trademark of 1983 Universal City Studios. All rights reserved. And batteries go somewhere. Is it here? You just need to stick something in there in order to pry that open, and you get one big C battery in there. I'm not sure how much juice is left on this one because I did put this battery in here years ago when I first got this thing. Should be enough juice in it. And that lets you make KITT talk. And the button in order to activate the talking feature on the Diamond Select one, it's this gas cap right here that you push. But this is pretty clever. It's the license plate which says California Night. So when you push this down, it makes him talk, but since I hadn't used this in a very, very long time, the motor is seized up on it. It's got a little motor in it. And if you have this or any toy that uses a motor for any action feature, before you crack it open and start playing around and trying to fix it, a lot of the seized motors on my vintage toys, like the Sectar's hand puppets with wings that move, I've been able to unseize the motor just by pressing the button over and over again. Also one of the talking elf toys. So you'll hear it kind of strain to talk. Before I started this video, I pushed this down and nothing. It was complete silence. So I just started pushing it over and over and over again, and then I got really, really slow speech. So let's see if you can hear that slow speech now. Yeah, that's what it sounds like. So you'll see, hopefully, that the motor is just seized up a little bit, and the more I do this, the more it'll loosen up and the quicker he'll talk. It's getting there. Yep. It takes a while. Now, another thing that will help is that there's a knob, a tab in here. There we go. It's hard to light it up. Recess tab in here, which is all the way onto one side, but you can slide it down to control the speed of the motor. That made it worse. It's getting there. This is really cool to be able to do this like right on camera instead of just say, take my word for it, it works. And that is William Daniels doing the voice of KITT right from the show.
I shall activate the turbo boost. What is our next mission? Call me KITT. What is our next mission?
It's getting there.
I shall activate the turbo boost. What is our next
We're almost there.
What is our next mission?
And it's going to get to the point where it starts to go too fast, which is then what you use the slider for to make them sound normal.
Engaging the infrared tracking scope.
Sounds a little fast now.
What is our next mission? Your reflexes are slow.
He sounds slow again. It's not consistent.
Call me KITT, for short. What is our next mission?
It's a good way to show you what all the different expressions are, though.
I shall activate the turbo boost. Scanner indicates danger ahead. What is our next mission? Your reflexes are slow. Call me KITT, for short.
Cool. You get that grinding sound, which kind of takes away from the KITT speech.
What is our next mission?
It's okay, though. It kind of sounds like a car motor.
Call me KITT, for short.
And some of the details. Ooh, you want to be careful with that. That's stiff. That does not feel like it's... Ah, there we go. Something's getting caught in there. You don't want to force any of this stuff because it's just... Plastic can get really brittle after a while. I look at on the inside, and when I was in Aggie's kit, this right here, this part right here is where David Hasselhoff signed her car. And he actually drove the car, she said, from Toronto to Miami one time for an event. That's really cool. On the inside, there's a sticker on there. And there's also a little shifter right there. The steering wheel moves. There's a look at some of the details inside. Actually got the steering wheel upside down. Goes like that. And there's some stickers of the console. In there, Aggie had an Atari game playing in there at the Hamilton Comic Con, and she also had a little Atari joystick because in one of the episodes Michael Knight was playing Atari while KITT was driving. 2 seats and some seats in the back as well. Good luck fitting any 6-inch figure back there. There's just no room. That's just for show. But the nice thing that they did with the seats on the inside is that they're flush with the ground. So not accurate for a car, but in terms of functionality for a figure, this is always the reason 1/18th scale cars don't work with G.I. Joes, because the seats are too high. They boost the figure up too high and the figure's head hits the roof. But with having the seat inaccurate like that, it's able to sit flush, especially a figure that can't bend at the knees. And it gives the Hoff tons of space. Well, maybe not tons of space, but David Hasselhoff is a tall guy. 6'4", I believe. I'm 6'2", and when I sat in there, it is cramped. It is tight quarters. So that looks exactly right to me. The figure is 5 points of articulation, so he can't really reach around in there, but you can almost get his hand over on the shifter. What's really important is he can get one hand on the steering wheel. 2 actually, if you get them both up like that. Almost. Nope. Oh, the hands are too far apart in order to get them both on the steering wheel. At least you can get one on there. All the other one sort of rests beside the shifter. Shut the door. I mean, KITT can always drive, so you can just have both of his hands down at his side like that. That works too. And a 360 of the Hoff figure. Very first Michael Knight figure ever produced, I believe. It's got the jeans, the cowboy boots, leather jacket, red turtleneck. It's the color scheme he wore in the early episodes. He would later change it up, but that's the standard look that he initially had. And the amount of detail on this figure is pretty much exactly what you would see on a 3 3/4 Star Wars figure. Even though he's a 6-inch figure, that doesn't mean they went with extra detail. The head sculpt is pretty much exactly like a Star Wars figure, just upsized from 3 3/4 to 6-inch. Just basically looks like a, what do they call it, 2-up. When they're making figures, they make them initially in the bigger scale and then they shrink them down for the smaller scale. And that's what this looks like the original unshrunken scale, and they just decided to stick with the 6-inch figure. And a couple of size comparisons. Here he is with the Super 7 Michael Knight figure that I took a look at on the channel a few years ago. And this one had the hairy chest because of the open shirt. Much shinier jacket. And I believe in that review I tried this figure in this original Talking Knight Rider. Makes him very, very teeny tiny. And alongside a modern 6-inch figure. I think this one is a little bit taller than 6 inches. Another leather jacket wearing dude. Marvel Legends Wolverine. So both guys on the tall side. Hasselhoff 6'4", like I said, I believe. Hugh Jackman 6'2", which is exactly my height. And let's see how this Marvel Legends figure fits in here. As long as you can get him into a proper sitting position. Oh, this looks like it's going to be pretty cramped, actually. Especially with the claws. I could make this easier on myself if I just took the claws out. But when it comes to toys, I love a challenge. His foot is hitting. There's a board right here. So we're not going to have any luck here. Not with this particular figure anyway. Maybe some of the smaller or slight G.I. Joe classified figures might fit. But this guy's a little too big. And I may have found another vintage figure that might fit. Vintage Kenner Chuck Norris Karate Commandos. Almost exactly the same, just a little bit. These are not to scale with each other. Chuck Norris was quite a bit shorter than David Hasselhoff, a little bit thicker too. So we'll just remove the Uzis and see if he'll fit. As long as the legs aren't too long, it really shouldn't be much of an issue. If I can bend the knee. Oh yeah, look at that. We can bend the knees a little bit. Ah, beautiful. Wonderful. You can even grab one of the one side of the steering wheel. He actually has more luck grabbing onto the shifter and the steering wheel. More luck than the Hoff did. Shut the door. That's great. Back touches the seat perfectly. So there you go. If you're looking for another vintage figure that will fit in a vintage Talking Knight Rider 2000, perfect match. They did make a car for Chuck Norris Karate Commandos. They made a Karate Corvette. So I'm guessing the Michael Knight figure would work well with the Chuck Norris Corvette as well. That looks really, really nice. But not as nice as Michael Knight himself. It's really cool that David Hasselhoff is still such a big fan of the Knight Rider show. And he's still doing events with KITT, photo shoots. He just seems to love this car. He loves being in it. I love that he contacts people like KittForHire.com and says, hey, I want to hire your car because I want to drive it around for an event. So hats off to him for really embracing one of the things that he's most well loved for. So that's a 1983 Kenner Knight Rider talking KITT. If you had this one as a kid and your parents are still alive, give them a call. Tell them thanks. They might not have any idea what you're talking about, but call them up or drop by and say, hey, thanks for getting me that talking Knight Rider. That thing was expensive. Couldn't have been easy to afford for a lot of families back then. But what a toy this must have been back then. In the age of 3 3/4 scale toys, Star Wars, and G.I. Joe was out at that point. G.I. Joe started in '82, so Joe would have been in its second year. This probably would have been similar to having one of those Hot Toys 1/6 scale vehicles. Just humongous, beautiful detail. I haven't even mentioned how good the car looks. It's a perfect Trans Am. It's not deformed or shortened or elongated in any parts. It just looks beautiful. And quite old at this point, but still gleaming and shining. At least this version was. Really nice windshield on it too. I love the very slight blue tint they put on the glass on the front and on the back. The plastic, but it's supposed to represent glass. And the license plate is really cool too, especially
Your reflexes are slow.
the talking feature. So thanks for checking out the video. Hope you enjoyed watching it. Big thank you as always to the people supporting the channel over on patreon.com/michaelmercy. Got another exclusive G.I. Joe Classified review coming at you very soon. And also thank you to the channel panel, the channel members. And feel free to rock those custom emojis in the comments if you're a channel member. Remember to push that like button, and to join the tribe, hit subscribe. And remember, one man with a multi-million-dollar supercar can make a difference. Nerdmas Day.